Hello, it is July 30th and it is 9:36 p.m. So right now I've got to make a video about Junaid. Basically, it started once again. This is from today, this afternoon, today in the afternoon, 3:15 p.m. It's the same video that was put on my YouTube for Chevrolet. It says let's drive together. Same thing, the same video was put again about 15 minutes afterwards at 3:30 p.m. and it is the same video of Chevrolet on there again, with me knowing exactly what it means. Basically what Junaid is trying to say again today is that I should basically scam other people's daughters. What they're trying to do is that they want, so in courts, they have artificial intelligence experts that tell the court judges exactly what the brain savant means, what it is, or what it's capable of doing, to see the chances of law enforcement obsession with it since 2001, due to the fact that since 2001, law enforcement, all they've done is run sex games with Uncle Joey's in-laws that were continuing on till today, due to which law enforcement had to provide Uncle Joey with a top-notch protocol that would envy a sitting governor, give him top-notch intelligence at the November 2023 funeral, due to which we knew that the sex games had been run since 2001 with Uncle Joey's in-laws. So basically, yeah. And then, except for that, the other thing is, money fraud that have been run for years and years, basically. So basically, law enforcement became absolutely obsessed with me at one point, despite me not doing anything. And even the talking points that law enforcement now has after all of their false testimonies, including November 20th, that law enforcement knew they were about to fabricate in early November, before November 20th, 2025. That law enforcement were fully all involved in. Mid-January 2026, a 10-year-old child claiming 25 years later that I said anti-government thanks to him when I was a 10-year-old child. All these things, all these false testimonies have all gotten caught. Law enforcement has absolutely nothing left. And so basically the only talking point now is one of law enforcement's own BFFs, like Uncle Joey might have said something bad around me when the war occurred when I was a child, like an 11-year-old child in 2001. Uncle Joey, one of law enforcement's own BFFs, very good BFFs since past few decades, said something bad around me, even remotely considered bad around me as a child. It's literally the only talking point that law enforcement now has, basically against me. So since all the false testimonies have now gotten caught. So basically the thing about it is, it's very obvious that law enforcement doesn't care about what their own BFF said, but they care about the child who was only around their BFFs till I was a child needing adult supervision. From the moment I gained the situs mental maturity, I was never around any of law enforcement's BFFs ever again, and law enforcement's BFFs continued to say things that were even remotely considered bad. Law enforcement never cared, even though law enforcement ran sex games with Uncle Joey's in-laws since 2001. They couldn't care less. They were still providing Uncle Joey with top-notch protocol that would envy a sitting governor, providing him with top-notch intelligence. So law enforcement never cared, but apparently law enforcement cares about the child who was only there as a child, only temporarily, daily, only after the mother had already spoken with law enforcement when I was an 11-year-old child, and only until I gained the situs bit of mental maturity as a child. You have to understand the fact that we're only humans, and we don't choose our own backgrounds. We only choose ourselves, and my background with my mother is excellent. But what my mother's force and necessity as a single mother were till I gained the situs bit of mental maturity is a totally separate issue. My mother was never around when anyone could have said anything remotely considered bad around me as a child, and it would have been law enforcement's own BFFs, and it would only be something remotely considered bad being said and not done, like what my dad, the Gritty Farmer, was doing in 2011 before he was tipped off. Basically, yeah. So it makes no sense blaming the child and not the adult, who would be law enforcement's own BFF, like Uncle Joey, and instead running sex games with the adult since 2001. And money fraud that have been continuing on for years and years, only stopped 2 months ago, and blaming the child while not even caring about the adult, but instead being BFS with the adult. only because this is the only talking point now left, since all the false testimonies like November 20th that law enforcement knew was about to be fabricated on November 20th, 2025, weeks before it was fabricated, and mid-January 2026 with a 10-year-old child claiming 25 years later that I said anti-government things to him when I was a 10-year-old child myself in elementary school. These things have all gotten caught as being complete fabrications, and since this is the only talking point left, but since law enforcement cannot use this talking point themselves, they're giving it to Junaid to use, and it's only due to his sex addiction. Basically, what it is Junaid gets rejected by these girls, and now his strategy has kind of changed, where now all that Junaid does is he gets rejected by the girls, and he basically begs me to help scam these girls. Like today, this is 3:15 p.m. and he was rejected by the girls again, threatened to have the police call on him, and it says, "Let's Chevrolet, let's drive together." This ad, by the way, started on June 19th. Which means that since June 19th, and today's July 30th, since June 19th, almost every single day I've been putting it up in my Gmail, I've been talking about it, and yet they're still using the same ad, meaning the same exact thing. Like 15 minutes later, it was 3:30 p.m. today, July 30th, and it was the same exact video, Chevrolet, let's drive together video put on my YouTube again to try to ask me to help scam these girls. Basically what they want is everyone hears about the core chatter about me being a triple savant encompassing for instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, and focusing, and that I'm supposed to basically go scam someone's vulnerable daughter living alone and tell her that I'm the guy that you heard the core chatter on, sleep with her, and then pass her around to weirdos like Junaid, who are basically Junaid made up a story about him being a CEO and this and that, and then he made up a story about himself being a CEO to all these girls, even though he was working the same job as my sister, earning the same amount of money. And what ended up happening was someone in law enforcement got sick and tired of watching these girls get scammed and being told all these lies, so someone told the girls from law enforcement. What ended up happening was Junaid panicked right away as soon as he finds out that the girls know and found out. Junaid quickly calls the girls and tells them everything. He says, "I'm not the CEO. I earn the same amount of money as my sister does. Works the exact same job, and that he loses his job every single year. He was getting into fights at his work at that time, like how he definitely is right now, and that every year he tries to get an early retirement, like how this year it's been confirmed that he's supposed to get one." So yeah. Basically, yeah. That's what Junaid did. He basically called the girls himself out of panic and fear that the girls are going to run away, and he told them everything about himself out of fear that the same person who told the girls that he wasn't the CEO would tell the girls that about his current job situation, due to which he told them to call the girls and told it to them in his own way before the other person who told them the truth about him lying about being a CEO did so, out of fear and panic that the girls are gonna run away. Well, now he's getting rejected by the girls, and now that he's getting rejected by the girls, this is what's happening. The same cycle that I think I talked about on July 26th, 4 days ago, after I made the video for the morning of July 26th. It was a Sunday, July 26th. And he was basically getting rejected by the girls on the Sunday morning. Like, you might be thinking, like, who gets rejected on a Sunday morning? You like, what do you like? Call the girls on like Sunday morning, like the person's like sleeping, and you're like, anyways, who cares? But like, yeah. So today is July 30th, okay, and it's not funny. It's someone's daughter, and he got rejected again. And so basically, today at 3:15 p.m., July 30th, and same thing. It says, "Let's drive together," and then the next video, it is same thing. 15 minutes later, it is this video, same Chevrolet video. It's going to say the exact same thing. Let's drive together. And they've been using this since June 19. So they know I know what it means, and they know really well what it means. They've been putting it on my YouTube today after Junaid got rejected again. So the entire process starts again like it did on July 26th, 4 days ago on Sunday. He got rejected on a Sunday morning, July 26th. And so basically, yeah, so the same thing happened today, and now what's going to happen now, since the cycle, it repeats itself, what happens is I always obviously reject it. And afterwards they threaten to take oil out of my car. But pretty much I gotta make one point before we go further. We now know who the sex predator were in the starting. First of all, I never told anyone about my brain savant. Not one person was told about it. Biggest prime example of this is Miss Deb, who knew about it in June 2023, whereas I never told a single soul about it. Didn't even whisper into one person's ears till after August 25th, 2023, when I knew for a fact everyone already knew about it. And that's when I said, I have a triple brain savant. I know you know, and I know you have a brain scanner, so let go of it. I want to study now that I won my case on August 25th, 2023. Everyone in town knows about my brain savant. So obviously you have a brain scanner. So basically, yeah, that's when I told law enforcement, basically, since everyone already knew, there was no point in hiding it anymore. But like any person with common sense, you don't tell anyone about its lottery ticket till the money is inside your bank account. Obviously, money wasn't in my bank account yet, so I didn't tell anyone about it. And so law enforcement did. So basically, yeah. But afterwards, law enforcement got really envious multiple times. The entire cycle repeats itself, where they would get envious, then they would start arguing that my brain savant doesn't exist. Then someone would say, well, why don't you just do a test? So instead of doing a 30-minute test so everyone would see out in the open whether it exists or not, they'll always do like a 1-minute test. Whether it's November 14, 2025, May 10, 2026, June 24, 2026, yeah, you name it, it's always a 1-minute test. So, so basically, yeah, after the 1-minute test, obviously we would find out that the brain savant is there. It's extremely powerful, and it increases in power over time. We even found that out with on November 14, 2025, with a test result coming out on December 10, 2025, saying that I basically am the new Kim Peek Rain Man. And except for that, I also have innovation and focusing as well. And except for that, my powers increase over time as well. And test from the comparison of the test from August 9, 2022 with mid-May 2023 and November 14, 2025, May 10, 2026, and June 24, 2026 will all prove this beyond a reasonable doubt. Artificial intelligence is not my friend. It's not going to lie for me over and over again, and neither am I psychic enough to predict what the artificial intelligence report on my brain savant says without either someone telling me about the report or me telling the truth, obviously. Or the third option is obviously that I'm psychic and I could read the report from far away, but that's not true. So basically, the thing about it is just the fact that yeah, so basically the thing about it is just the fact that Junaid basically wants me to basically scam these girls into them thinking that basically the girls would hear court chatter about my brain savant, and they would literally, like, what they would be is these girls would be vulnerable, living alone without their parents, and then I would go over to their house after getting contact info from law enforcement, after law enforcement would first put up these ads saying, let's drive together, and this one, 3:30 p.m., 15 minutes later, and basically what would happen is I would be like, yes, sure, now that you guys are threatening me and saying that you're going to take oil out of my car, I guess I have to do this to other people's daughters, even though I wouldn't want it done to my sister or my daughter. And I would then take the contact info for these girls from law enforcement, go to their house, vulnerable girls living without their parents, basically sleep with them using the court chatter that they would hear about my brain savant, and then pass them around to people like Junaid. Yeah, right. I told law enforcement straight out. They've been begging me since June 19th, literally, like almost every single day. And every single day, like, Junaid would call the girls, he would get rejected by them, and they would threaten to call the police on him. And then Same cycle would start again since June 19th. They would first beg me like that ad right there I just showed right now with the Chevrolet, let's drive together. And then I would be like, get the heck off my face. To which, a while later, they would threaten to take oil out of my car or basically slash my tires or do something of that sort of nature. It's happening like literally every single day since June 19th. So basically, yeah. Junaid also, basically after May 25th, 2026, obviously, end of May, what happened was he got rejected by my elementary school teacher, and she had a son who was only about 2 years younger than me. He yelled the crap out of Junaid and called the police on him, and due to which Junaid, had law enforcement break the front under part of my car, and also my fire stick for my TV and my charging outlet out of anger that, he got rejected by her, and she liked me, but she didn't like him. Like, she liked me in a different way. There's a big difference. He's keep on asking people to sleep with him. That's very different from how a teacher would, like, if I was a teacher and I have a female student, I would find out she had a really rare burn savant, I would literally just be like, when your brain savant gets freed, you test it out for like a month, you come talk to me first. I want to know everything about it. People are going to be grabbing onto you at that time. You come to me first. You tell me about everything first, and then you go to everyone else. Obviously, like, as a teacher, I would definitely put my name in there as number one. Like, you got to come to me first, test it out, use it for a month, test it out for a month, see how it is. Let me see how it is, and then come to me, but come to me first. Like, everyone would do that. Who would not do that? You know, it's like a totally different kind of thing. And Junaid once, like, totally, and then people like Junaid would call her, beg her for sex, sleep with him, and literally her son, who's only about 2 years younger than me, would literally yell the crap out of him and then call the police on him. Yeah, that kind of stuff. And pretty funny stuff. I mean, what can I say? It's also humiliating and degrading for the person who is going through this. Like, why would you do this? But Junaid does this literally every single day, and I know this for a fact because the cycle repeats every single day. And on that Sunday morning, July 26th, I could tell. I looked outside. I was like, you got to be kidding me! Sunday morning? Who does this Sunday morning? Now, you got to remember, the street outside my house, it's got cars going all day long. So Sunday morning, he got rejected July 26th. Anyways, so basically what they want me to do is go scam these girls, use court chatter to go scam these girls, sleep with them, and then pass them around to people like Junaid. Yeah, right. Like, I would do something like that, first of all. But the thing about this is, now we know who the sex predator is and who isn't. I'm not the sex predator, because if I was, I would have been running after these girls. Law enforcement's the sex predator, because they are running after these girls, and they're doing so every single day, and they're having the police called on them or threaten to do so. So now we know exactly who the sex predator was in the starting. Basically, yeah. So basically, today it happened again because obviously, if they're asking me to scam the girls say that they want me, but you have to understand the fact that these girls are not sexually frustrated like Junaid and law enforcement are. They're looking for her husband, and if someone like me goes and sleeps with them, they would have to be their husband. That's how it works. This is how reality works. No one's gonna like sleep with someone unless they get something else out of it. They're not sexually frustrated like Junaid and law enforcement are. And so it's due to that fact that someone like me can't do that anyways, because yeah, it just really weird. And so basically, today was not the only day that they asked me to do this for them. This happens pretty much like every single day Junaid gets rejected. So this is July 24th, 3:18 p.m. This is Spider-Man and the Punisher basically working together. We're supposed to be going and scamming girls. Yeah. And then obviously what ends up happening is July 24th, 8:05 p.m., same thing, two brown people riding together. Yeah. July 23rd, 3:10 p.m., the same, let's ride together ad. Okay. July 26th, 1:09 p.m., same thing, the let's ride together ad for Chevrolet. And then right before that, it was the Anderson, because that is someone from my high school. And basically what ends up happening is July 26th, 4:43 p.m. they use once they so what ends up happening is they get rejected by the girls, and the girls are starting to call the police on them. And then they come and ask me, like, can you go try to scam the girls? To which I would obviously say, heck no, get the heck off my face. And then they would put the Jiffy Lube ad on there for oil. The embarrassment from watching these people getting rejected is so bad that if a girl came over to me, even then I'd be too scared to go anywhere near her. Okay, so yeah, the fact that they're asking me, you have to be insane. Like, why would you even ask something so stupid? Anyways, so, but by these things, we know for a fact exactly what's going on. Basically, Junaid would get rejected by the girls. So basically what happened was Junaid was trying to enviously lock up my brain savant, and he was only doing so, because he thought that he could continue making these false stories about himself being a CEO and things of that sort nature. What ended up happening was the girls found out that these people were only making up stories, to which Junaid would actually call the girls and tell them the exact truth about him working the same job as my sister, earning the same amount, except the only difference being that he was losing his job every single year. And this year he's supposed to be getting an early retirement. So basically, yeah. So then Junaid changed his strategy. What he ended up doing was he started begging me to help him run after these girls and try to scam them. Obviously, like, I wouldn't do that. First of all, watching someone else get so badly humiliated is kind of number one reason why no one else would do that. But the fact that they're trying to force me to do it means that the girls have told them that they wanted me instead. But you also have to understand the fact that these girls are trying to find a husband for themselves. They're not trying to they're not sexually frustrated like Junaid and people in law enforcement are. They're trying to find a husband for themselves. And it's wrong to go and sleep with someone that you know you're not going to get married to when you already have someone in mind, you know. And it's just wrong to do that when you know for a fact you're not going to get married to them. So yeah. Basically, that is what's going on, and what ends up happening is, yeah, that is pretty much what happens. The girls tell them that they want me instead, and then the law enforcement in Junaid, what they end up doing is they come begging me to help them scam these girls, which I would never do, because that's someone else's daughter. Like, if it was my daughter, literally, if someone came over my house and they were like a billionaire, they had $1 billion or like something close to it, and they talked to me before they went with my daughter, I would literally let my daughter go and sleep with them, stay with their house as long as they promise to marry her. But if someone who's not a billionaire comes over to my house and says to me that I'm a triple brain savant and I will be one next year, well, I would tell that person, just come back next year when you are one, and you could take my daughter out for dinner or whatever you want. You know, that's just how it works. Like, you're not supposed to be, first of all, you're not supposed to be going around sleeping with everyone in the first place when you're not what you claim to be, okay? I'm not the CEO, trust me, I'm not. And second thing is, fact of the matter is, I already have someone in mind and I don't need to do this, so I'm not going to. But the fact that there have been asking me over and over again means that the girls are asking for me, but law enforcement is basically trying to use me to try to scam other people's vulnerable daughters living alone, which I think is very wrong, since if it was their own daughter, they would have been offended by this. Like, who the heck do you think you are, douchebag with 2 kids, getting an early retirement this year, working literally the same job and earning the same amount as my sister does, and you're running after my daughter like that. You douchebag, get the heck off my daughter's face. Like, seriously, anyone would say the exact same thing. But people like Junaid just don't care about other people's daughters or how other people would think. They don't put themselves in other people's shoes. They don't care about other people's feelings. They don't care about how other people think. They would just be like, they would try to like use law enforcement to basically stalk the girl and be like, oh, this girl sleeps with this person or that person. It doesn't matter what that girl does. The person whom the girl is sleeping with is now making up fake stories about himself being a CEO or something that he's not, when he's earning the same amount and working the same job as my sister, married with 2 kids and about to get an early retirement. In reality, person is not making up fake stories about themselves. You cannot go and scam someone else's daughter who's literally just trying to find a husband for herself, and you make fake stories about yourself being a CEO or this or that, when you're in reality earning the same amount, working the same job as my sister, and getting an early retirement every single year, which is confirmed for this year. You cannot make up stories like that to go and scam other people's daughters like that into sleeping with you. That is just wrong. And I know for a fact they're only asking me to go scam these girls because the girls are asking for me. But you have to also understand the girls are asking for me for a husband for themselves. They're not sexually frustrated like Junaid and law enforcement are. They're asking for a husband for themselves. And if I already have a wife in mind, I'm not going to go sleep with someone, use her up, and then run away from her just so that I could use her and then pass her over to losers like Junaid. I don't do stuff like that, and it's just not right, since I would not want that done to my daughter, so I'm not going to go do it to someone else's daughter either. And it would make no sense for me, since obviously a guy like me would obviously already have a wife in mind. So it would be incredibly stupid for me to be doing this in the first place. But it clearly shows what the motive behind people like Junaid are, especially with the advertisements he's putting up and the threats to take oil out of my car, and the fact that after May 25th, 2026, he broke the front part of my car, my fire stick for my TV, and my charging outlet. And there's no excuse for vandalism. Basically, no matter what story that it is that Junaid tries to put on, no matter what it is that anyone could have said around me as a child, it would only be saying, and whatever they said, it would not hurt anyone, it would not threaten anyone, it would not commit vandalism against anyone, it would not threaten anyone's life or do anything of that sort of nature like what Junaid has been doing. After May 25th, 2026, Junaid was basically rejected and had the police call on him by my elementary school teacher's son, who literally just wanted to know about my Brain Savant. That's all. And she basically just said, when your Brain Savant gets freed, like a month afterwards, when you're done testing it out, and I know how it tested out, can you come tell me first, since no one's gonna, like, people are gonna be around you at that time, so you come to me first, since I already asked you. That's all that happened. That's all she asked. And people like Junaid were running after her and asking her to sleep with him over and over again, due to which her son, who's only about 2 years younger than me, had to call the police on Junaid. And so after that, what ended up happening was Junaid and law enforcement broke the front under part of my car, my fire stick for my TV, and my charging outlet. There's absolutely no excuse for that. Okay, my sister, basically me and my sister had a deal where my sister would pay $30 for my car insurance and my $25 for my cell phone bill for a while. She did that so that she wouldn't have to keep paying me for watching her kids every time she went to work, picking or dropping them off, or picking and dropping my mother off from her house so that my mother could watch her kids. So instead of paying me over and over again, she just paid $30 for my car insurance and $25 cell phone bill every month. And now she just pays $25 a month for my cell phone bill every month, so that I would pick and drop my mother off from her house and I wouldn't have to keep taking money from her. So she just gives it to me from her household income. So basically that's how it works between me and my sister. It has nothing to do with anyone giving anyone any right to break the front part of my car, my fire stick for my TV, charging outlet, just to try to threaten me to go and scam other people's daughters. What people like Junaid, the sex addict, and law enforcement don't understand is the fact that these girls are asking for me not because they're sexually frustrated like Junaid and law enforcement are, but because they're looking for a husband for themselves, which means that after my Brain Savant gets freed, I would have to literally marry the person I sleep with, which I cannot do since I already have someone in mind to marry, which means that I cannot do what they're asking me to do in the first place. In reality, is not that simple as their corrupted minds are. So basically, yeah. So I told them straight out, like, I cannot do this. I'm not going to do this. I already have a wife in mind, and yeah, I don't do these kinds of things anyways. So basically, the thing that you have to understand is the fact that regardless of what anyone around me could have said, one of law enforcement's own BFFs like Uncle Joey around me as a child, nothing that anyone could have said around me hurted anyone, harmed anyone. Like how Ibrahim pays for crystal methamphetamine and funds drug cartels that create violence and displaces human beings and has people tortured after they're displaced by other drug cartels, like I was showing in my other video. Nothing like that happened. Also, it was only anything anyone could have said, like law enforcement's own BFFs, like Uncle Joey, and not something that anyone did. Yeah. And so basically, comparing that to someone like Junaid breaking my car, committing vandalism, breaking the fire stick for my TV, breaking the charging outlet, my charging outlets, doing things of that sort in nature, that is basic, obviously, vandalism, to try to threaten to force me to go and scam these girls or try to scam these girls, when in fact that's not scamming. What's going to end up happening is I'm going to have to pay for it, since the girls are not stupid enough, and they're not sexually frustrated. They're looking for a husband, and whoever I go and sleep with, I would have to marry after my brain savant gets freed, which I cannot do since I already have a wife in mind. So literally, I cannot do this. And I told them I'm not doing this. And like today, it started again. It says let's drive together, which I cannot do. Yeah. So basically, yeah. And I'm not even interested, and I wouldn't be interested. Not saying anything bad about these girls, but Farah the Greedy Framer is trying two of her daughters while she's aggressively narrating against me in court. She's already fabricated numerous false testimonies against me. Miss Deb is asking me to marry her daughter Ashley while she's narrating against me in court. And yeah, and Miss Deb even claimed that my brain savant shouldn't get freed because people of my religion have done bad things in this world. Okay, except for that, Ibrahim has been aggressively narrating against me in court, made numerous false testimonies against me. July 18, he asked me to, basically it's a Ponzi scheme, since he knows I'm not interested in his ugly looking sister who's way too young for me. And he asked me on July 18 to basically sign a prenup agreement for her because June 24th, the brain savant test was overanalyzed. Not just then, March 9, 2026 and April 11, 2026, Ibrahim asked me again to basically sign a prenup agreement for his sister, which is basically a Ponzi scheme for me to do. Yeah. When these people are literally trying to scam me, I'm not going to go sleep with anyone knowing the kinds of things that is happening right now, where these people are asking me to marry their sister or their daughter, like Farah the Greedy Framer, Miss Deb, and Ibrahim, are basically trying to scam me for money so that I would fall for it, do something stupid, and then they would literally try to file a lawsuit against me after my brain savant would get freed, seeing that my brain savant's about to get freed anyways, and they're already working on a Ponzi scheme for afterwards by advertising their sister or their daughter. Like, I'm not that stupid, and I'm not sleeping with anyone, whether they are asking for me through law enforcement or not. It's like, I'm not that stupid, okay? So multiple reasons why I can't do it. Anyways, I already told law enforcement I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do it. But yeah. So basically, the thing that you have to understand is, regardless of what anyone could have said around me when I was a child, basically one of law enforcement's own BFFs like Uncle Joey, it would only be saying and not doing, first of all. And the second thing is, whatever they said would not affect anyone. Like how my dad, the Greedy Framer, in 2011 was giving mass sermons to people to join terror groups. Excuse me. That was doing and not saying, since those 50 people in his sermons were not disagreeing with him. They were all agreeing with him, since no one disagreed except for that one person who was obviously a government informant, and by now the courts have already found that government informant already. So yeah, basically my dad, the Greedy Framer, in 2011 was doing. He wasn't saying. He was encouraging people to go join terror groups, and those people, like, there were around 50 people in each sermon. Okay, none of them were disagreeing with them. Incredibly dangerous, Okay. Yeah. And how many people were going and coming back from terror groups? We don't know. How many people have been mass murdered because of my dad, the Greedy Framer's actions from 2011? We don't know. How much effect he's had in this world and mass murdering people and causing people's lives to be ruined? We don't know because we just don't know. Law enforcement didn't investigate it correctly, like how the government investigated November 20th against my dad, the Greedy Framer, and his Framer sisters. They put a government informant in there. They found out about November 20th being fabricated. They found out about every single lie after November 28th that they were planning on fabricating against me as well. That's how you investigate things. Not how they did it in 2011, where they basically went and tipped my dad, the Greedy Framer, off. After 2011, I can guarantee you, my dad was the most patriotic person in Ireland at that time. No one more patriotic than him after 2011, but that's not what you look at. You look at what happened before he knew that he was being watched. And what happened before he knew that he was being watched was the fact that he was basically encouraging people to go join terror groups, telling them